We live in a time where the flow of information is constant, with competing voices in crowded spaces, where old school thoughts meet new school ideas.
But in this modern age, we are constantly having to recreate ourselves. To understand these identities, we need to decipher the culture. This is unconventional. This is Lounge Academics. Okay, so welcome to the Lounge Academics podcast. This is 5 minutes to disrupt with your hosts, KJ, better known as Kevin Julian, KJ, the first Lounge Academic. And yeah, just welcome to you all. Obviously, just to let you know very quickly, 5 minutes to disrupt. If you haven't already listened to our Lounge Academics content, check us out on YouTube. Check us out also on other podcast channels, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and obviously if you're listening to us, welcome. Good to have you on board. So this evening we're going to have a bit of a chilled approach to 5 minutes to disrupt. We're online now on Instagram doing our live stream, and obviously the rules are quite simple, straightforward really. With 5 minutes to disrupt, our guest has 5 minutes to come on, disrupt the airwaves and let us know about their work, whether that's a business, whether that's a particular project that they're working on, and this is their opportunity to kind of basically show off their skills and share with the world what they're doing. And this week I've got a special guest. I've got a young man by the name of Chuks, editor-in-chief in Too Much Info Media, but I'm going to allow him to talk a bit more about his project and what he's doing, and I'm going to invite him on shortly as part of our conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him on. Yes, he's already joined us. He's here. And I'm just going to bring him on and allow him to have a conversation with us right now. So let me bring my young man brother up on and let us have a conversation. Hope everyone's good. It's good to see you all. Good to see people coming on. Yes, sir. Yes, King. Look,
yes,
man,
how you doing, man?
Man's looking serious. Where I see man just come up, man. With that I see man just appear. Man's just like that, bro.
It shocked me. I couldn't see the video. So I was like,
good to see you,
confused
King.
Face.
How you doing, bro?
Good to see you too, man. I'm good, man. I'm blessed,
good.
Man. No complaints over here, man.
Of course, man. So, obviously, you know the drill. I think you've listened to a couple of these still. You've tuned in to some of our 5 minutes to disrupt. So I think you got an idea of the format anyway and what we do and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, what I'm going to do, as I'm talking to you, I'm just connecting with other people as well to let them know that we're online and stuff. So, to share and let people know. And what we'll do is we'll get into it, find out a little bit more about yourself, sir. So I know who you are. I know what you're involved in and what you're doing, but it'll be good for other people also to find out a bit more about what you're on and what's happening as well for Too Much Info, yeah? So,
all right.
Right. So how you feeling? You cool? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You good, yeah? Good. Okay. So what I'll do is, without further ado, we'll just let you say a little bit about who you are, what you do in that, and we'll give you your 5 minutes, bruv, to do your thing, and then we'll have a conversation, yeah, about it, yeah? All right, King. Go for it, Chuks. Go, bro.
All right. Love to everyone. As KJ said, my name's Chuks. Some people call me Chuck, some people call me Chuks. I am, he kind of made it sound very grand, but yes, I am I'm the founder, I'm the host, managing director, all them good titles of a media platform called Too Much Information. Our main focus at the moment is on a podcast. It's a weekly podcast that comes out every week on a Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning. Depending on the length of the podcast that we film, sometimes we break it up into parts. So usually it's one part a day. So this one that's coming out this Friday, it's likely to be 4 parts because it was a really long conversation with another podcast host, actually. He's just started a podcast called Honestly, Mate. But this guy actually he's partially blind, but his life has been full of topsy-turvy roller coaster situations. So it's very in depth. We ended up touching on things like men and mental health and these kind of things. So as a platform, the general ethos of the platform is to use people's stories of their life and their experiences to enable people to explore their own lives and improve their own situations. And also, sometimes it's not always deadly serious. Sometimes it is lighthearted. Me as a person, I am somebody who I'd like to say I've got an entrepreneurial spirit. I decided to wear I don't know if you can see it, I decided to wear my Nipsey Hussle t-shirt because, you know, I like his ethos. His ethos was building up the community around him, having come from maybe a less positive side of life. And I just like that ethos. I like that. I like the moves. I like the moves that he made in actually buying property in his area and putting people on and employing people from the community that he grew up in, which I endeavor to achieve later on in my journey. What else can I tell you about myself? I'm a married man. I've got my first child is on the way. Having a daughter.
Yeah, I
so
see that.
I'm super excited about that. So yeah, that was another thing that I've done on the podcast. I did a series on fatherhood, which you were a part of.
Yeah.
Where I spoke to fathers and also I spoke to an amazing woman that was raised by a single black father. So yeah, so that's kind of another avenue that I use when it comes to the podcast. I like to kind of ask the questions that a normal person would ask. I like to have conversations. I tell people all the time I'm a habitual oversharer. So I almost class myself. So I almost class myself as like the perfect podcast guest because there ain't nothing really that's off the table. You have to kind of tell me to stop talking. And that's obviously I'm early on in the podcast journey. We've just this episode is coming out on Friday is episode 21. So It's still early days, but I'm really excited about where it can take me. What conversations, how important, and one of the hashtags that we use is a custodian of stories. So that is what I would class myself as, and that is what I class the platform as. We are a place where people can share their story and people can view that story and pick what they will from it to improve their situation. I don't know how much of the 5 minutes I've got left, but just one last thing I would say is that I spoke to an auntie that I haven't spoken to since my wedding, to be fair. And we spoke, and she was saying she was really impressed with the podcast. And I was, obviously you're excited. It's it's your auntie that's known you from before you were born, kind of thing. So she was just saying that how she broke it down was really kind of, she articulated what I want to say, which is that it gives people, especially of the older generation, but the younger generation as well, it makes them aware of the fact that their experience is not just theirs. A lot of people don't share their story because they're worried about how they're going to be judged or perceived by other people. And what I hope my platform is able to do is to show that a lot of the stories that people tell themselves in their head is not exclusively theirs and is not something that they will be judged for. It is we are much more similar than we are different. And so that's kind of that was a beautiful thing for me to hear, especially from an elder in the community. And how much more time have I got?
Yeah, no, I'm just, bruv. If you're ready to get into this, I am, man.
Yeah,
there's a lot there, man. What you're saying, and I think, the comments that you've made, like the last comment that you just made about your auntie. What does it mean for you to kind of hear that though? That idea of that their story and their experience is shared by others as well. Like what does that mean for you?
For me, it was something that kind of almost took my breath away, because it's something I didn't really think about. Because what she was kind of articulating to me was that her generation was a generation that didn't say those things because they believed it was only them that had experience. And she was speaking about negative experience, obviously.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that they spoke to their friends about. It wasn't something that other people knew. It was just, I don't know, their experience in their house, maybe their parents, or maybe their mother or father or uncle, or whatever experience it was that happened in their life. It was something that they kind of dealt with and held within themselves. And now, why I was saying that it led to a lesser degree is the younger generation, where we're in a generation where conversation is a bit more accepted, something that we speak about a bit more. And it was a beautiful thing for me to hear, that, especially for someone that I care about and love, that they gained that from the experience. And she ended up sharing things with me that, you know how it is when you're forever the young one around the aunties and the uncles, and when they're talking to you like you're actually a grown up at last, it's a good feeling, you know.
Of course, that you can sit down and reason on a level and talk.
And they can exactly, and share exactly that.
And I think for me, that's something that I've definitely seen from your platform. So from what I've seen, definitely there's this. What I really like about the way that you hold your interviews, being a man that's been involved and been on the receiving end myself and have been involved in the platform, is the way that there is kind of almost like there's this sharing of knowledge, between yourself as the host, interviewer, however you want to put it, with obviously myself as the guest. And I feel that you're always open and honest, and it's like a conversation, to be fair, when I'm listening to you reasoning and talking. And that's something that I've been really taken back by. Yeah, totally. Was that Bobbins Insta tour? Yeah. Wise words from Auntie.
Yes.
Yeah, respect.
Love Bobby.
Do you know what I mean? And I think at the end of the day, for me, from the observations that I've seen of you, that transparency and that authenticity of who you are just comes across and shines brightly.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you, man.
No, totally, man. And I just wanted to know, in terms of your inspirations, what really inspired you to start on this journey of content creation and creating content and podcasts and that? Where did that come from?
All right. Okay. The first, because there's another platform that I started, which kind of is on the back burner at the moment, which is more, that was the original platform, which was kind of just more the conventional podcast platform that is prevalent at the moment, which is, friends sitting around a table, kind of talking about current affairs, talking about stories and that kind of thing. So that was the original thought. And then it just happened that the two friends that I was doing it with, one of them had a baby on the way. Another one was going through whatever they were going through. So it just couldn't really happen. I'm kind of impatient. So it's something that I kind of wanted to. So because it wasn't moving at the speed I wanted it to move at, I was just like, all right, let's just put that on the back burner and let me find a way that I can be in control of creating content, right? And then I saw on YouTube, there was a channel on YouTube called Soft White Underbelly that I saw. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I have.
But so this guy goes on Skid Row in California, and he just, how I viewed it, I thought he was a bit of a wrong one, if I'm honest. He just goes there and he gives them $50 and a packet of cigarettes and tells them to tell their whole, and I don't know the backstory, maybe he gets them to go see counselors or whatever, but I saw that and some of the stories touched my heart. I'm not a person that cries near enough ever. And one of the stories touched me where I nearly had a tear in my eye, and I was like, no, this is serious. His thing's very artistic. He's a photographer by trade.
And this is a brother talking to real people, innit? Just out there.
Real people. Yeah. Like people that are homeless and ex-gang members and drug dealers and drug takers and all these kind of just people that are, he goes to Skid Row. So it was a platform that really kind of intrigued me. But my issue with it was that I thought, okay, there's not something like this in England. But my issue was that I felt like he was taking advantage of people. and I wanted to create a platform that wasn't just showing negative stories and negative images, and not even just on a racial thing, just generally of people in bad situations. And obviously I know there is a reason you can see, but you can hear and see bad things, and they can help you, because that's underlying the ethos of my platform. But my thing was that I wanted to find a way to speak to people that maybe didn't have the craziest life ever.
Yeah.
Like they haven't been hung out of a window by their parents, or they, do you know what I mean? That doesn't, and if they have, well, I'll speak to you too, and I'll learn something from that too. But I wanted to speak to all types of people and just have a direct conversation. I don't want people to necessarily incriminate themselves. I'm not like Vlad from,
I was like,
I'm not
TV.
do you know what I'm saying? So, but what I did pick from Vlad was very much that I wanted to
check for you,
kind of
Vlad.
be
Don't try to
behind the camera. But I did.
Just thought I'd say that we both got platforms that we love, man. So don't, love, Vlad, love, man. We love what you're doing, but maybe a bit unethical, bro. That's all we'll say. So, bro,
some of the stuff, some of the straight up the caveat. I respect it. But what I did take from him was that I decided I wanted to kind of have the conversation, but I'm behind the camera.
Yeah.
So there's only a few instances on the episodes where I'm in front of the camera, and that was either because the person that I was interviewing was nervous and they felt more comfortable with me there, or for the first episode that I decided to do, I was the person that was the guest, and I wanted to kind of in order for me to ask people uncomfortable questions and almost make somebody feel like, oh, these are I want to get to the point where I'm asking questions that people maybe have never been asked before, or never thought they would be asked by somebody who they maybe haven't known for 12, 10, 20 years. Right? So in order to do that, go on.
So how does your stuff, like in terms of what you're doing, because you spoke about this other guy, the software underbelly and all that other platform. How do you, like, and it sounds to me, what you were connecting with there is that brother was exploiting people, basically. It's kind of like exploiting their insecurities, the things that they've been through for the purposes of entertainment. Do you get what I'm saying? They're being put up on the platform and getting paid a little change for that, right? But, with yourself, how would you say that differs in terms of your experience and your platform? What would you say is different? And how do you toe the line? Because I think that would be a very fine line.
Yeah, it's a very fine line, and it's very much, I think the main thing that I think I try and do is to not research the person. So I'm not necessarily going in with an agenda. It's a very free flowing conversation. A lot of the people I do know, like yourself, I knew before you came onto the platform, and there were maybe some things that I knew, but my intention is not to trip you up. Also, what I do is I send the form out to everybody before they do it.
I was going to say,
I make sure that they're aware.
I love that. Sorry to talk, but I love that, man. I have to say, your integrity to fidelity of your craft and what you're doing. I love the way that you set that up in preparation for your guests when they come on. I think it's heavy, the amount of due care and diligence that goes into what people are willing to share and bring, because when, like you said, sharing people's stories, that's a personal thing, and it's a very fine line as to what people can share. But I think you handled that just brilliantly. But yeah, man, just wanted to just put that in there. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, and I think that is part of the, as you said, how do I toe the line? How do I make sure that I'm not going to mention his name again, because now you got me worried like he's actually going to sue me. But like the kind of person that is actually going to the kind of person that's actually just going to, whatever it takes to get that clickbait headline. Whatever it takes. And I'm not a whatever it takes kind of person. I'm like whatever comes from the conversation person. That's what I'm about. And I really want to kind of that's the ethos I want to continue through, because obviously, as I said, it's early stages.
Sure.
Even when that time does come.
Sure. So what you learn, I mean, from us, obviously we both, we both got respective platforms. This is something that we both have kind of been engaging with in terms of, creating content, interviewing people, hearing their stories, connecting with them, etc. How have you found this journey to date in terms of navigating the whole podcast, the whole content creation thing? How would you describe the journey?
Okay, how I've found it is it's definitely a process,
Yeah.
and I've seen an evolution. I've seen an evolution in myself, and I've seen an evolution in the platform. Firstly with myself. Personally, I found that early on I was very what's the word? Maybe nervous is the right word.
Sure.
Nervous to ask difficult questions and to push the envelope, because it is, like you said, it's a fine line. Like, on one side of me, I have to stay true to my truth, which is that I don't want to traumatize nobody. I don't want to make no one say something that they don't want to say or that they would regret saying afterwards. But on the other side of that, the name of the platform is Too Much Information, and the whole thing is about people sharing things that maybe they wouldn't normally share.
Sure.
So I had to find as you said, a fine line in asking the right questions and being quiet as much as possible, which is really difficult for me because, as I said, I'm a chatterbox. So
yeah.
So that was, so as far as me personally, I also as well, I had a good friend of mine that actually was listening to the podcast, and he would almost give me a bit of a dressing down after every episode and be like, no, because you do that. Look, when I was listening to it, I wanted to hear what they said about X, Y, Z. Why didn't you ask them what happened after that? Or why did this person leave? Or why did, you know what I mean? So it was almost like a pathway into exploring how I could evolve my conversation style when I'm talking to a guest. And as far as the platform is concerned, that's been a journey as well. Because when I first started, it was just very much like I record it and I put it out. Now it's very much like I'm learning to kind of edit it a little bit, and I'm not no professional editor, but I'm kind of breaking it down a bit. I put a kind of, what's the word? Like, it's almost like a pain or something in between each section of the podcast where they're talking about different subjects, to almost kind of give the viewer a bit of a roadmap through the conversation. Which I find is helpful, just because I know that I'm the only sort of mad person that will sit down and watch a 3-hour Joe Rogan podcast from start to finish. I know lots of people don't do that. So so I kind of wanted to give them a way of kind of fast forwarding to a section that they're interested in.
And it's interesting because there's a thing with the podcast at the moment. And I mean, podcasts traditionally are audio recorded, often pre-recorded pieces, of media. And now what we're seeing very clearly, I mean, I'm even doing it now. Obviously, I'm capturing audio from this kind of visual aspect that we have, right, through this conversation. And obviously, when we look at YouTube channels, even particularly with our platform and with yours, I know there's that visual element to kind of the podcast as well. So I think you see it's really evolved and changed in a short time, and podcasts are proper popular. If you was to give any tips as to kind of recommendations as to how, if people are starting out on this journey and doing their podcast, what would you be saying to them, like in terms of like the duration or type of format? What would you be saying to people that are coming out trying to do this?
In a way, as far as like logistics of it, I would probably say I'm not the right person to ask, purely because I'm super impulsive and reckless in that regard. So I'm like,
I love
like when I first thought of the idea. When I first thought of the idea, the first idea was for it to be 22 minutes long, just because my logo's got the 2 in it. I thought it would look good if they was all 22 minutes long and But like I said, I'm a chatterbox, so that even the first one, I think the the first one that I done with somebody else, it went to like 27 minutes, and then I got it down to the third one was like 24 minutes, and then it just went hour, and then it went hour and a half, and then it was just like it wasn't possible for me to even do that. So what I would say is do what feels right to you. But I think the most important thing that I would say is to do.
Sure.
Like my ethos is just do. So and you don't need much equipment. You don't need a lot of stuff. When I started, I didn't spend much money at all. You can buy a mic on Amazon for 50 quid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can use your phone as a camera if you want to do a visual podcast.
Sure.
You can buy a decent camera secondhand from anywhere if you wanted to. If you don't want to use your phone, you want to buy a decent camera. Yeah. You know. So I would say also as well, just get what you need bit by bit. So I didn't start.
So gradually
with
scale
everything.
Up, like start up and then gradually scale.
Right.
Gradually,
So exactly. The first thing I did was get the microphone, and then I got little bits and pieces. Then I got the lighting, and then I got little bits and pieces like that. And yeah, as far as I say, duration and logistics of it, I think you'll work that out as you do. What I would say is make sure that you're present on social media. Make sure that you promote your platform as best you can. And the best advice that I've received that I'm still struggling with is building a team of people that are kind of bought into your vision. Just because, you know, maybe I'm a control freak. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. But I like to move at a decent speed, and I feel like I'm prone to being lackadaisical. So if I've got people around me that aren't on it like me, I can work under my own steam for a period of time, but that there'll be moments where I can hide from doing work, and I don't want that. So now I'm at the stage where I'm actually that's why I've committed to doing one episode a week.
Okay.
So it's near. You might as well say it's a one-man operation. I've got a graphic designer. I've got people that I use and I pay to do certain things. But as far as the platform, I host, I edit, I do most of the things that people see.
And how do you manage that? Because you're talking about, I know when you're doing something for so long, and I know I'm guilty of this, I can relate to this as well, yeah? So when you've been doing something and you're pretty much holding the platform in the many different roles that you hold, right? When do you realize it's time to give up, to get a team and to get certain people to come on board to help with the building? At what stage do you recognize that?
I think I feel like, obviously, okay, because also as well, I finished my degree in business management, just waiting on results and all of those kind of things.
Man.
And,
waiting on a
I
lot
appreciate
of things,
you. Oh, yeah. But one of the things that I did learn was that you have to start your business in a way where it is possible to be scaled. So that's why I gravitated towards Vlad's way of doing it. Because if you notice with him, he's not on camera. He's asking the questions, but not all of his interviews are done by him. Some of the interviews, he's got other people, other staff members that the whole, he's using the same cameras and visually it looks the same and it's still the same guests, but he doesn't have to be there. And I feel like for me, that's the stage where I've started the platform from, but I want to take the platform. I want to actually get the people to be able to do that. So ideally what I would want to do is to be able to have somebody else, maybe another couple of people that maybe other places in London or other places in the country or the world even, and be able to pick up my brand and put it somewhere else and it be able to flourish without my face necessarily being what people are buying into. Do you know what I mean? Because like you say, it's not easy. Even with me now, you know, like as I said, I've got a baby on the way, I've got a wife. Like I might, if I've got a guest with somebody and I say I've committed to releasing an episode every Friday. So I might not be able to get a guest that can do it until the Thursday. So if I do the interview on the Thursday, that means I have to be up till silly o'clock editing in order to get it out for 9 a.m. And I think only one time it hasn't been able to happen, but I got it out that day, but it was a couple of hours late. But yeah, apart from that, those are the kind of things that I feel like as soon as I decided to do that, it was going to be once a week. I realized that I needed a team of people.
Yeah,
and
to help that.
I'm still searching. So if there's anyone out there that is interested, holler at your boy.
And what you looking at? And when you're saying in terms of a team, if you was to think about specific roles, what you looking for? Is this for other people that can produce content? Because like, is that what you're looking for, or is it much wider?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. So, I'm definitely looking for content creators. So I love to write. I've got a website, toomuchinformation.co.uk. So I definitely want to have people that are writing blogs, word pieces, even art, as in, I don't know, painting art or drawing or whatever, and have a platform to display that. So I'm definitely looking for physical content creators. I'm definitely looking for people with great ideas for subjects and topics for series of podcasts. And I'm also looking for people that can that are interested in hosting, and that are interested and are willing to explore their network of people in order to kind of further and do the brand and be almost me for the brand in a different sphere. Because there are some people that, even though I'd like to think I've got a pretty eclectic group of guests, like the guy I interviewed that's coming out on Friday, like he's into thrash metal. Like, when I was there and he was listening to it, he was telling me like this tune is his favorite song, and I could not understand one word. But when he, like, I'm telling you the truth, but he rewound it and sang the words in like a normal voice. And the words, I couldn't understand it, but the words were deep. So I kind of had a bit more of an understanding of why these people were banging their heads and getting into this music. But I couldn't. I thought it was just noise, and they was talking about killing this one or the devil this, or that's what I thought it was. But this guy's talking about his heartbreak and his woman left him and this, that, and I was like, right, it's pretty deep. So yeah, I'm definitely, do you know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking for kind of content creators like that.
But Chuks, don't that go against, like, because this podcast thing, like, I don't know, like for me, I've often seen when I was looking to collaborate with people, because I'm a guy that likes to co-produce and collaborate, right? And when I was speaking to a number of people that got their podcast platforms or whatever, there was this caginess around collaborating and this notion of, you know, being part of a bigger vision. To collaborate with someone often was like a curse word in my experience, because I think we've kind of been taught to some extent to, this is my brand, I'm too much information, I'm Lounge Akademics. Do you get what I'm saying? And it needs to coincide with this brand and have these colors and whatever. That's things that I've picked up on just through the journey that I've been on this as well. But I'm totally down with what you're saying, and I walk hand in hand with that, man. Where there's synergy there, but I feel that's not often replicated or reflected amongst the masses out here that's doing it.
I think it's definitely about how you approach the conversation. I think what I mean by that is that if, like I say, if there's somebody who is a graphic designer, or maybe they do. I was watching what's his name, Mike GLC on Instagram, and he's got a comic, a graphic novel, cartoon thing that he draws and writes, and like I literally went on his YouTube channel and watched it, and I was like, right, I never knew that anybody from the ends that looks like me was doing this kind of stuff, So obviously he's got his brand, and obviously he's got his direction where he wants to take it.
Sure.
And like you say, I feel like if I was to come in and say, all right, slap too much information on your team that you've been building for however long and assimilate it into my platform. Yeah. I think that is something that someone will kind of almost shy away from. But if you say, all right, cool, you do what you're doing as you are doing, but my platform is open for you to put your content on my platform as another avenue. It don't have to be exclusively there, but I just want to know that the people that come to my platform can see what you do.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that
There's
conversation is an
it's
easier conversation.
reciprocated. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
It's interesting,
You know?
and I'm finding, yeah, totally. And I think and I say this generally speaking, I think it's something that we struggle with as content creators, as podcasters, as YouTubers, or whatever. And there's that whole variation also of whether somebody's popping or not. Do you get what I mean? So people want to check the followers and the algorithms and what, you know what I'm saying? So I wondered
Right.
for yourself, like, in terms of that journey, in terms of picking up guests and stuff, what has been kind of what's influenced you to choose the guests that you've done, and on the flip side, or mirroring that, what's then enticed them to come onto your platform to participate?
What's enticed them to come onto my platform a lot of the time is my winning personality and my dashing smile. I think that's what done it.
It goes a long way, bro.
In all honesty, I do think that I've called in favors. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people have kind of done it as a favor and then ended up gaining something from it. I think when it comes to me kind of searching out people, what I've found as well is that there's one person, I don't even know if he's in here now, but I'll shout him out Sedway. He's called James Anderson.
Okay.
I don't know him from nowhere. I've never met him. But I think he saw an episode or he saw a clip that I put up and we just started talking. And then all of a sudden, I would just see the podcast would be tagged in something. And I'll be like, wow, what's this? He's tagged me in like under a video with some random something that happened or a Black Lives Matter protest.
Sure.
And he'll be like, he should be on your podcast. And I'll be like, right, for real.
That organic.
Because I'm new to like the whole kind of internet, Instagram way of approaching people, it took that for me to then say, well, that is actually how else am I going to get people that I don't know?
Yeah.
So I literally approached the guy in the videos. It turned out to be his wife who had commented under the video that he tagged me in. And then she got me in contact with the guy. And then like, literally we're going to do a podcast in a couple of weeks time when his situation's a bit better. But that is kind of, sometimes you get those people that come into your life and kind of almost push you in the right direction, you know? And when it comes to choosing my guests, oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on. Yeah, choosing your guests.
Yeah, and when it comes to choosing my guests, it's almost like a two-pronged thing, because it started off with literally just being, all right, I've spoken to somebody, and I'm interested in what I like the person or I don't like the person, even though I haven't interviewed anyone I don't like, but I would love to. I want to interview Katie Hopkins at some point. I hate her guts, but I want to talk to her. But so you might talk to somebody and you think, wow, this is an interesting person. I'm nosy, so I want to know, why are you such a sick person? Or why are you so successful? Or why are you so able to remember? Like, I got one of my friends that I interviewed, it's like he's able to remember every like minuscule details and dates and names, and nothing leaves his head. But this is the thing. Then I want to know, like, right, is this something in how you was raised? Was there certain things that you were taught, or the way that you were disciplined, or the way that you were whatever, that kind of made you able to, or maybe you spent a lot of time by yourself and you focused on whatever. So I definitely wanted to kind of get into that side of things. So that's how I kind of chose those kind of people. And then the fatherhood series, that was a more kind of methodical approach. So when I decided I wanted to, obviously I'd found out my wife was going to have my child. And then I'm like, okay, I was raised with no father. So what do? I'm panicking a little bit. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to say. So how I'm going to do it. I'm like, I just didn't know. So I was like, all right, let me try and find a way to speak to fathers or speak to people that have been fathered and find out the good, the bad, and the ugly about the experience. So I decided I wanted to kind of cover as much of that subject as I could within 5 episodes. So I made sure I spoke to somebody that had written a book on fatherhood. I made sure I spoke to somebody who was estranged from their children and hadn't seen his children in maybe 3-4 years. Been to court to try and see them and hasn't been able to, and all these things. I spoke to yourself, who works in the field and works with fathers that are estranged from their children, and I really wanted to kind of get from you what you can do if you're in that situation. I wanted to speak to a woman that was raised by a single father, and that was, for me, that was probably, I don't want to say the best conversation, but it was definitely one that I learned a lot from. And it turns out, even at that point, I didn't know I was having a daughter, but now I know I'm having a daughter. It was very interesting to just hear her experience and how much kind of similarities they were to my experience of being raised as a man, or a boy at the time, being raised by a mother alone, and her experience of being a girl and a woman now, being raised by a father alone. And there were so many similarities, and it was very interesting. And I gained a lot from that conversation.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier with my auntie, when she was talking about, makes you realize that a lot of the things that we think we experience are male things, for example, and no, it's circumstance things.
Yeah.
You know?
Which people can share, and there's the similarities in that. No, man, I totally hear that, bro. And I guess, you know, because like I said, with these conversations, and even Bobsy, man's gone off to make his cuppa, boy. If it was a quick thing, he's gonna make his cuppa. So I think for us, and this is the thing, because when you get into this year and we start to have these conversations, you know, stuff comes up, man. A lot of things come and bubble to the surface, and it gets deep, you know. And so it's really good. And I guess kind of moving it and switching the gear slightly. We like to, obviously, through Lounge Academics, the whole concept of the 5 minutes to disrupt, and our whole kind of platform is about creating teachable moments, do you understand, for people as well. And all of this has just been absolute gold dust. But in terms of the nuggets that we're leaving for people that are tuning in, what because I know you're a man who reads, I know you're a man that takes in information and knowledge from multiple sources, definitely is what I get from you, So I wondered if there were 3 top kind of YouTube channels that you would recommend. Doesn't have to be free, even one would be cool. But if you've got like a top YouTube channel that you'd recommend for inspiring content, what would that be? Or what would that be?
All right, I'll tell you, for me, that inspired my content, because I think it is very specific. So for me, my style is very much conversational. My style is very much personal conversation. That's what I prefer, and that's what I like. And then I like jokes as well. I'll definitely say, first off, I will say the first podcast that I really ever watched was Joe Rogan's podcast. Some people are on the fence about him. Some people like him, some people don't. The reason why I would say for content creation, for my kind of content creation, he's good to listen to or watch, is because he has such an eclectic type of guest. And his format of conversation is just like a long form conversation. It might be 2 hours, it might be 3 hours, but he might talk to an astrophysicist one week, and then he might talk to an MMA fighter that ain't got 2 brain cells to rub together the next week. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's still a conversation, and you can either choose to listen to it, or you know what I mean? So I would say for learning how to kind of speak to different types of people, then that's definitely someone that I would like, that I recommend watching. When it comes to the same brother I was talking about just joined, man. Love, brother. I appreciate you, man. What I would definitely say, I don't know if another kind of controversial figure is maybe someone like Brother Polite. That's a controversial figure in a lot of ways. The whole polygamy thing, which I'm it's not for me. Don't get me wrong, it's not for me. But why I recommend him is because of the way that he debates. I'm aiming to be able to learn how to debate with people in the way that he does, where he will interrupt at the right time. He will be quiet at the right time. He formulates a plan. He's very strategic in the way that he conducts a conversation and a debate. And I would definitely say it's better to watch, especially if you're on the fence about him, it's better to watch him debating somebody rather than him just talking at the camera. most people are going to get triggered somewhere along the line.
So it seems to me, based on the recommendations that you're making so far, is very much linked to how you're shaping the platform. You know, too much info. A lot of that plays into kind of ways of being, interview styles, formats, that kind of thing is what I'm picking up on.
Definitely. And then also as well, I'd say the last thing, just because I know that you probably, I'm sure if I remember correctly, you're an East man. You were brought up around the East. So you probably know these guys or been to school with them or something. But we're all kind of similar ages. But that No Behavior podcast. Yeah, the No Behavior podcast is like, that's like, it just cracks me up.
Yeah.
Just makes me laugh in a different kind of way. So that's something that I like to watch. But those are the three that I would say. Those are the three that I would probably, off the top of my head, that's what I would definitely say.
Okay. And just in terms of summarizing, as a lasting kind of something, I know this is something that you've always said consistently as part of your platform with too much info, okay? And also something that I've picked up on as part of your being. But I thought this would be good in closing, actually, as a kind of like a final kind of word for people that are tuning in and listening. What does no filter mean for you and your platform? Because you say it a lot. You talk about no filter. And why? What does that mean for you and your platform?
I definitely hold truth, honesty, to a high regard.
Yeah.
It is, when I say no filter, I mean no lies, but always keeping at the core of everything that I do. There's no intention to harm anybody.
Sure.
So there are people that kind of skate through life feeling like they can just be honest, because being honest gives them some sense of feeling powerful. And I feel like there is I'm just like, you know what I mean? No matter how I'm only giving a message. I'm just not my fault if you can't take the truth in the way that I'm giving it. And you know, like that sort of energy, right? And
Thank
I
you,
feel
AK
like
beneficial. Just seeing, we've been told everything sounds lit, my guys. Yeah. So no, respect for that. Love, man. Yeah.
Love. So yeah, I do think so. But what I would say is that when I say no filter, I mean that I'm not going to withhold information for my own benefit, if that makes sense. I feel like honesty and truth is important, and I feel like that is the cornerstone of the platform. And that's the only way I believe that people can gain from conversations.
Yeah.
Is when you actually delve into those parts of yourself that you don't usually share. And it's funny because I was literally talking to a friend of mine yesterday about, you know, when my mum passed, they kind of saved me from experiencing like that solo time where I probably would have gone down into that deep well of depression and feeling bad. I was around the man them, and it was very proactive. It was like, what do we need to do to the funeral? And I got into the left hemisphere of my brain, and just kind of very much I was on that. And then I never really stepped into the sadness. I stepped into a bit of loss and all of that. And then it was a couple of months ago, it was the anniversary of my mum passing. And I was getting all these messages from people, and they were saying like, you know, give thanks and, you know, appreciate you thinking about you today. You know, like all the good stuff that you get from your friends and your family. Of course, yeah. So cool. And then it just made me think like, right, boom, let me just take stock for a moment. And I went on my Tidal and I just put on a couple albums. I put on the Tracy Chapman album. My mum always used to listen to that. And Burning Spear and a couple other people like that. And my mum always used to thump back in the day when she used to thump music on a Sunday. Yeah. And all of a sudden this wave came over me. And it made me realize, like I was saying to my friend yesterday, like, I realized I'm not a robot. Like I do actually have those emotions, but maybe I have to access them in a different way maybe than other people do. So my point, bringing it back to the original subject, is about this no filter, is that the only time that you really get those moments of realization and clarity is when you step outside of your comfort zone and you confront those emotions and those feelings that I don't do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I will quite happily fly through life listening to everybody else's problems.
Yeah, skimming
and
on the surface.
Feel like I feel like my problems are easy. Like, cool, I just get on with life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Without engaging.
But sometimes
with your
now
own
what I'm
stuff.
doing.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Real talk.
So that's that's where I'm at right now. And I feel like what I'm also trying to do, sorry to go on, but like I said, that my friend that kind of listens to the podcast a week and give me a message and say, yo, or will send me a couple of voice notes back and forth. The one thing he said that he's like, he wanted to hear more of my perspective on some of the things that my guests were saying. So you can, if you go through the archive of the episodes,
sure,
there's a point where it turns from being interviews. The early ones are all kind of interviews, me sitting there asking a question, waiting for them to finish, asking another question, waiting for them to finish. And then there's a point when I had this conversation with my bro, and literally after that, I realized that not only do people want to hear my perspective, but the person who is the guest on the show also wants to feel more comfortable by being engaged with, you know?
Yeah, of course, because it's a big thing on both sides.
You have to be vulnerable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you got to be willing to put yourself out there for people to even feel safe, to even engage with what's going on for them. You understand? So
that's exactly it.
You need to. So you got to kind of model the behavior that you're looking to see in your guests, you know? And that's why I wanted to bring you on, bruv, because I feel that's something I've definitely seen that's allowed. Because like you, I could chat forever. As you know, when I was on your podcast, that thing must have been a good 2 hours. But and you got two people chatting in the same space, not good. But I think at the same time, though, it's that ease of conversation. It's because you enabled me to feel relaxed, to be able to do that. And energy knows energy and it vibes. Same way, if you're not feeling comfortable, man's going to shut down and that conversation will end quickly. So I totally hear that. So just for the benefit of people that have just come on and are listening, those that have just joined us, obviously we're here with Chuks. We're talking about Too Much Info Media, his platform, talking about podcasting, content creation. We've gone into various different themes around that. And if it's cool, Chuks, if you could put up like your website as well. I know you mentioned it as well, but if you could just bang that in or into the, if you're able to do that whilst chatting to us still, to put that in, that would be cool, so people can check out your content. Might even want to come on to the platform to get interviewed by Chuks. Still, like I said, people
let me know
the variety of different guests that you've had on as part of the platform. But what I really want to do is salute you for creating the spaces, you know, for us to have these conversations and to allow people to feel at ease to be able to engage with a lot of that stuff, because interviewing ain't easy, man. It's not easy. So I just want to say massive respect to you, man. And I'm conscious of the time because I'm about to get booted out by Instagram soon, you know, because we're coming up to that max time. But I guess if there was one lasting final point that you wanted to kind of leave with people, what would it be about Too Much Info Media or yourself? No pressure.
About the platform. The one thing I would probably say about the platform is that I believe that there's something for everybody there. I believe that if anybody was to go, whether it's on the website, whether it's on the YouTube, whether it's on the Instagram, whether it's on the Facebook, whether it's on the Spotify, whatever platform you go, however you receive your content, there'll be something there for you. And we're small enough at the moment where I see every comment and I respond to every comment. Yeah. And if there is something that you feel like is missing, having heard what my ethos is, my ethos really is I want to speak to all types of people without taking advantage, without using and abusing and making fun of. I really just want to encourage anybody that is able to let me know if you have any advice, if you have any feedback, if you yourself want to, as you said, wanting to be a guest or wanting to be a part of the platform, feel free, holla, and we'll make it happen.
No, respect for that, man.
But as I said, I'm definitely looking for content creators as well. So
so also
I love to write.
well.
I'm trying to bring back pen and I'm definitely trying to bring back pen and paper.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to start this hashtag pen and paper squad. So anyone who still uses a notepad, anyone that still uses a notepad, holler at me, man.
No, definitely, definitely, so, King. And it's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you still. Like I said, people, let us know if this conversation has been informative. Let us know how you felt about this as well. Leave your comments, do your hearts, do your flame emojis, whatever you need to kind of convey this, man. But I'm very grateful for the love that that you kind of shown, man, in coming to bring me onto your platform and vice versa, bro. You know, it's all.
It was an actual pleasure, man. It was a privilege to have you, man. I learned so much from your situation.
No, thank you, King.
So much.
Yeah, definitely.
We say you like that one.
Yeah, you like that pen and paper.
Hero teacher, you like that one.
Yeah, of course. Hashtag pen and paper squad. Damn no, man. But no, but
love to dissect a selector. Love to everybody, man. I appreciate everybody, man.
Definitely. So obviously, this is just a continuation of the conversation, man. And this right here is just the ending of this chapter. I'm sure in the future we're gonna come back on when this COVID thing's looking a bit better, you know. Because I'm gonna lie, bro, I'm feeling a bit shook out here with everything. People are running up and down, and I'm like, COVID is still a real thing. But with that said,
don't be scared, man. Just protect yourself as best you can. Buy yourself a mask that's got one of these filters in.
Is it one of them
wear
filters?
It when you're on.
Is it?
You know, your boss. I know you're not getting on public transport. I know you got the big thing.
You done know, bro. Man's got clean film wrapped around the thing as well. Around the visor, just there. You understand? But no doubt, bro. We're there. So for anyone also, because obviously we're capturing the podcast, obviously tune into our content on YouTube as well. Obviously for those of you who don't know, and are listening for the first time, obviously we've got our YouTube channel at Lounge Academics, and obviously get through to us as well, and hit us up for our 5 minutes to disrupt as part of the Instagram live stream. But like I said, bruv, it's been good. King, respect, love.
Appreciate you.
Love to you and the family, man. You know, a lot of expectations.
Thank you, my bro.
Coming, man. Big things are coming, bro. So respect to you, man. You know, and I can't wait to hear. Yeah, bro. But love you to bits, man. Keep doing your thing, Chuks.
Love you too, my bro. Love every time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Definitely, King. Respect,
Thank you, my bro. Big up. Take care.
Cool, man.